Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how you doing? How's your mama? How's your family? We got the GOAT, Lucas Tracy. Would Arman have done better against Poirier? Makhachev versus Sarukian 2 breakdown, UFC 311. I think I'm gonna title this one did Dustin Poirier lay the blueprint to beat Islam Makhachev? I don't know what I'm gonna title it, but it's a reaction video. We uploading twice a day this week. And we looking to keep that going. The reason I got these sunshades on, my eyes are red, very, very swollen. It's allergy season. Before I get into this reaction, like, comment, subscribe, help out that algorithm, share this to somebody. Don't be stingy. And I'm gonna let Lucas take it away, and I'm gonna react like only I can do.
We got to talk about the Poirier fight.
Well, let's talk about it.
I believe that may be the deciding factor on whether or not you should be picking Islam Makhachev or Arman Tsarukyan. And I know that for a lot of people, it's case closed. Makhachev's going to go in there and do his thing, and he's going to dominate like he dominates everyone.
I don't know. A lot of people, from what I've been seeing, saying Arman go get
else. But this is why it's interesting to bring up the Poirier fight, because he didn't even dominate Dustin Poirier. He didn't dominate DP. And I think he was expected to dominate DP.
I didn't expect him. Y'all guys did. I think y'all severely underrated Dustin Poirier's abilities. So now you're underrating Makhachev's performance, if that makes sense. Also, their Staffgate. Dustin Poirier is my favorite fighter of all time, by the way. But Louisiana's own. But yeah, I think that was just you, Lucas, especially you. You were going hard. With BSD, you did the same thing with BSD. BSD's gonna maul this guy. Islam's gonna maul this guy. Someone within 2. So that's your guys' fault, not Islam's, and now he's paying for it. But yeah, but he did win 4 rounds to 1. It wasn't dominated.
I remember going into that fight, Islam Makhachev was being picked to beat Dustin Poirier however you wanted. Now, I wasn't one of those guys. I was saying Dustin's going to give him a run for his money. No, I wasn't saying that. I was saying that Makhachev by any way he wants.
And you were wrong. That's your fault, not Makhachev's.
Even though he did technically beat Dustin Poirier in the striking and in the grappling, and he finished him nonetheless,
yes,
I would be bullshitting you if I told you that I think that Makhachev passed expectations or lived up to them. I think that if you were to tell me Dustin Poirier is going to give him a war in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, I'm going to tell you, you know what? I don't know if that's a dominant fight. I don't know if that's a dominant decision. And so I'm just going to bring this up because I think a lot of people are talking about this. No one has ever
dominated Dustin Poirier besides Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Fight Makhachev and Arman, the rematch, as if it's case closed.
In his prime at lightweight.
Makhachev wins. But how would Arman have done against Dustin Poirier? How would he have done? Would he have done better? Because both guys have similar styles. Arman is a very similar fighter to Islam Makhachev. I know there's going to be some super hardcore fans that are going to say, bro, you don't understand, man. They're completely different. They're not different. They're basically the same guy. They're not the same guy. I mean, they're different fighters, and I think I've got to pick. I think I've got someone that I'm going to pick, but we got to talk about the DP fight. Dustin Poirier certainly improved from his fight with Khabib to his fight with Makhachev. And I'm not just saying that to give Makhachev the pat on the back, oh, he fought a better version of DP. He fought a slightly older but more crafty version of Dustin Poirier. A lot of us thought that Dustin was washed going into that fight with Makhachev, but
just y'all. I did not think that. It's your fault. It's your fault.
Turned out to be not so washed.
It's your fault.
He was still tough. His takedown defense and ability to get up improved. Granted, I don't think Makhachev is as dominant as a grappler as Khabib.
He's not.
So I think Khabib is always going to do better on the ground, that is. But would Arman have done better? I think, you know what? Maybe Arman would have actually held Dustin Poirier down. Because here's the thing.
I think Arman would have had better success on the ground, but I don't think he would have been able to strike as well.
Makhachev, outside of the first round, he takes Dustin Poirier down. He takes his back body triangle, gets around easily. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, really struggled to take down Dustin. And there were moments where he wasn't really trying. He was just striking with him because he felt comfortable on the feet. But there was not one of those middle rounds where you could just say, well, Makhachev banked that round. He had him on the ground for 3 minutes. There were none of those in the middle rounds. It was the first round where we saw dominant grappling, and the 5th round where he got the submission. Those were the 2 dominant grappling moments.
True.
Outside of that, there was a lot of good striking exchanges. Makhachev, yes, I understand he was sort of blind as a bat, pale as a ghost going into that fight. Staph infection, right? But
Staffgate.
at this point, it's pretty clear.
Blind as a bat, pale as a ghost.
Right? I mean, we kind of know that with Shavkat Rakhmonov. He's always got a broken toe, always got a broken foot. Everyone's got a broken something.
Yeah,
right.
Facts.
So we can't even use that as an excuse.
Broken toe.
Makhachev did outstrike Dustin. He absolutely did. There were moments and glimmers of excellence where he was impressing us, but there was also hairy moments where we were saying, wait a second, is Dustin Poirier about to TKO this guy? We saw that in the 4th. My question is, would Arman have even let that happen? I think there's a chance. I think Arman maybe has better control, just slightly better control.
It's not crazy to say that, but he does not have the same striking defense or striking offense. Islam's super hard to hit.
To where Arman could have went out there against Dustin, held him down a little longer. Ground and pound would maybe be a little bit better. Right? Makhachev's not necessarily known for his ground and pound. I think that's clear by now. He's a control guy, a submission guy, but he's not the ground and pound guy like Khabib. Arman has got one of the best ground and pound games ever. We even saw that against Charles. He was beating Charles up on the ground.
It is pretty good. Ever? Right? Damn.
By the way, we're going to talk about the Oliveira fight because we're talking about how Arman would have done against Poirier. Makhachev did better against Charles. I mean, listen, I understand that Arman beat up Charles,
and it wasn't close. It wasn't close.
On the feet, Charles Oliveira was basically a punching bag in the Arman fight. He did literally nothing. He just stood there frozen on the feet like a punching bag.
Yeah, on the back foot, not going forward.
Whereas when he fought Makhachev, at least he was striking with him and trying to knock him out. And Makhachev was countering him effortlessly and putting him down. Arman just kind of had a guy in front of him doing nothing. And this is really important because I've been saying that Arman's going to be a really tough fight. It's clear at this point that if Dustin Poirier can give you some real issues, and think about it, DP's got to worry about the takedown, right? Arman Tsarukyan doesn't necessarily have to worry about the takedown. And Arman Tsarukyan's going to be confident enough to go after Makhachev a little bit because he is so confident in his wrestling. But I think it comes down to the striking. And the question is, here's the thing. Makhachev, although he didn't dominate Dustin Poirier, and there were moments where they were going tit for tat, I think if we're looking at how he's going to do against Arman, a wrestler who he's probably going to be forced to strike with, what better experience than a war with Dustin Poirier on the feet? A guy that hits hard, a guy that's crafty, a guy that's super tough. When you start to take your foot off the gas a little bit, Dustin Poirier is going to put his foot on the gas and try to finish you. We saw that in that fight. I think that was the best experience Makhachev could have possibly gotten going into a potential Usman Covington type of.
And Khabib and Islam said this themselves. Great fight for the fans, and he learned a lot.
Stand-up battle between.
And also, stop hyping up Islam like this. He is the best fighter in the world, but stop degrading his opponents, because then you set an unreal expectation, and then you're mad at Islam. He finished Dustin Poirier. It was probably up 3-1 going into the 5th. Like, what's the problem? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the issue? You know what I'm saying? Like, no, you guys expect him to be Khamzat Chimaev.
Between two wrestlers. He went into deep waters. He had a cut opened up on his face. Right? We saw him be forced to box with Poirier. Now we've seen him go into deep waters with Volk, where he was striking with Volk for 5 rounds. We've seen him go a hard 4.5 rounds with Dustin Poirier, where they're in the pocket, they're boxing, and Makhachev is.
And that's that championship experience that I was referring to in my breakdowns. By the way, I've done a deeper dive into Islam's fight and Umar's fight, and did a complete card breakdown and a betting review. Go check that out. It's
throwing combos, hitting him with knees, right? He's taking big shots on the feet as well. He's got a cut on his face that's not deterring him. Whereas Arman Tsarukyan, yeah, he's got that Beneil Dariush KO. Yeah, Arman's got a couple of really dominant performances against unranked guys as well. But the last time we saw him fight Oliveira, let's be honest, Oliveira did fuck all on the feet. And there's still people that are delusional enough to say that Oliveira won that fight. Did absolutely zero on the feet. You cannot win that fight if you're Charles Oliveira. We didn't really see Arman get tested. We didn't really see a guy fire back at him. Now, of course, we saw him get tested in the grappling, but we're talking about if Arman and Makhachev go to deep waters and these guys are going to stand toe-to-toe and strike and their grappling cancels out, is Arman's experience going to help him like Makhachev's experience against Poirier, against Volk, is going to help him? Arman's just not got the same type of crispy combos on the feet. Arman's not necessarily proven that he can go and have a gritty boxing war with a guy like Dustin Poirier. The last time we've seen Arman get scrappy with someone, he got dropped. I know he knocked out old man Beneil Dariush, but he's an old man, and he's not got a chin anymore. And he was coming off of a brutal KO loss. And I understand Arman's striking is good. He's got great kicks, really good body kicks. He's got good speed. He's got a pretty good jab. But if I'm thinking about who's going to do better in the middle rounds, when these guys start going to war, when they start getting a little bit scrappy on the feet, I think it's probably Makhachev.
It's probably Makhachev.
I think it's probably a guy like Islam Makhachev who's been able to handle Dustin Poirier. I mean, listen, I know that Poirier, we talk about this guy, oh, he's Dustin Poirier. This is the guy that gets dominated by every grappler. He gets beat by every grappler. But this is one of the best lightweights of all time. I have Poirier as my third greatest lightweight of all time. I mean, 100%. We got to think about how he's one of the best strikers of all time as well. Dustin Poirier is a monster on the feet. And Makhachev still outstruck him. Stood toe-to-toe with him. Wasn't getting rocked by him. Makhachev
That's signed, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
People say, oh,
That's signed, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Trash, super trash Sharpie, though, that we used. You know what I'm saying? It's like back in.
Weight cut, oh, he's chinny, but we've not seen any signs of Makhachev being chinny. Fair enough, he got dropped by Volk, but, that's Volkanovski. But still, I mean, that was Volkanovski catching him while he was shooting a takedown. It was one of those weird situations. Volk interview coming soon, but listen, I'm picking Makhachev. I think he's going to outstrike Arman Tsarukyan by a hair. I think it's going to be a 48-47. I think it's going to be a split decision or a 48-47. I rarely ever pick split.
I'm so ready for the Volk interview. I might react to that whole interview, not even caring, like just watch it with y'all.
Decisions, but I think it's going to come down to that experience. I think it's going to come down to the striking. Who's got the deeper tool bag on the feet? Who's going to win those tit-for-tat battles? Arman's got good output. He's fast, but I just think Makhachev's got a little bit more. He's got better combos, right? I think he's more of a thinking man on the
He's got better defense, and he has better adjustments throughout the fight as well.
Feet. Whereas Arman just kind of goes out there, he sees and he does. Right? Makhachev's kind of thinking things through. He's kind of setting traps. He's thinking things through. He's got these, these combinations. Whereas Arman just kind of sees and he does. And I think that Arman's gotten a lot more confident. There is something to be said about that ignorance is bliss mentality where Dominic Reyes has no respect for John Jones and just goes after him. I will not be totally shocked. It's possible that we see people improve tenfold from one fight to the next. I mean, think about it. None of us expected Makhachev to go in there and outstrike Charles Oliveira as easily as he did. No one expected him to deal with Oliveira and make it look easy on the feet.
We didn't.
Everyone at the time, 2022, was saying Oliveira is going to destroy Makhachev on the feet. If Makhachev can't hold him down for 5 rounds, he's screwed. And we saw Makhachev look like the better striker. We could possibly see Arman level up again. But I think it's going to come down to who is going to be better in a scrappy fight. And I think Makhachev proved that. So I'm going to be going with Makhachev. I've been going back and forth, thinking about who I'm going to pick, but I think the Poirier fight's very interesting to look at. And also the Oliveira fight. Arman impressed me in the grappling. His striking looked pretty good, but Oliveira on the feet was really doing nothing. He really didn't do anything on the feet.
Super respectful for some reason. I don't know why.
We didn't get to see Arman fight a guy that's going after him as well. And credit to Arman, he kind of neutralized Oliveira, but still, I don't think that was a good performance on the feet for Oliveira. I don't think he looked like himself. People were saying that he didn't look like himself against Makhachev, but I mean, he was a little bit more patient than normal, but still, he was going after Makhachev. He was throwing punches. He was throwing zero, but he was like Paul Craig in the Arman Tsarukyan fight. So he really didn't look himself on the feet. Yeah, I think you got to look at that. If you think that Arman would have dominated Dustin Poirier, maybe he holds him down for longer, maybe he finishes him. I think that Islam Makhachev's dominance in the grappling is maybe just a tiny, tiny bit overrated. But I think it's his well-roundedness. I mean, we all know how well-rounded he is, and I think that he's excellent on the feet. I don't know if Arman is excellent on the feet. I think he's good on the feet, excellent on the ground, but Makhachev's excellent on the ground and excellent on the feet, and I think that's going to make the difference. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Islam Makhachev.
Okay. Yep. If you want to know who I went, if you want to know what I'm thinking about betting, go check out the channel. Like, comment, subscribe, hit with that algorithm. You ain't got to go home. You got to get out of here, man.